he's going to tell you about the prisoner camps in World War II.
Cindy, I was in World War II. I was 33 years old, and I had an allergy. And that is the reason I spent my 5 years in this country. In about 1942, I was put on a cadre to a prisoner of war camp. This prisoner of war camp was made in Anniston, Alabama. There was 400 prisoners came here from the Africa Corps in Von Mill's Army. These prisoners were signed to 9 American white personnel, and each 9 had what's called a company, and they were 254 men per each company. Now, these prisoners were very likable people, with the exceptions you'd run into one or two, like any old rotten apple in a barrel. But they were taken then from that camp there to another camp out west, where they rendezvoused all the undesirables. These prisoners were very industrious. They're very sociable. They liked the way they were treated over here, and they was very congenial with the white or the American personnel, and they would like to make things to and they would sort of give this to people, of the American people, like the ashtrays and different things like that. And this was going on for, I would say, till 1944. Then they dispersed them back to ready for embarkation to their own country. Second. Cindy, each one of these people, or these companies, their own prisoners had to do their own cooking and do things like that too. They prepared meals, and they've also got, in a few months, they became trustees, and they would go out and work at like officers' mess for Americans, and they would also go out and work at the warehouses and things of that nature. German prisoners. Cindy, these fellows, these prisoners working on warehouse details, they sure got to like the American girls. Cindy, a lot of these fellows were just like the Americans as far as going into the service over there. They were forced into it. They didn't want to fight. One of my interpreters, he entirely insisted that he wasn't in favor of fighting a war or nothing like that. And he wanted by all means to also be back home, but not to fight the war. And besides that, I had a college professor as one of them, and he spoke fairly good English, which he was of the same nature as the better interpreter was. Cindy, I had a birthday one time down there at camp with these German prisoners, and they found out about it. And you should have seen the beautiful cake, and was it ever good? It was made by one of their prisoners, in the German army from Holland, and he was a baker by trade, and that was really a good cake. One day I took 2 pictures of my oldest boy and my daughter, which is the only 2 I had at the time. And one of the guys was an artist by trade, and he made a charcoal drawing of these 2, these 2 children of ours. And my wife and I also was on the picture. And another fellow was he was an oil artist. He made me a picture of 2 deer, which I still have yet, standing in the stream and along the side of the woods, which is very intelligent. They were very intelligent people. Cindi, when the time came to break up this camp and to send the fellows back to the port of embarkation, a lot of them wished they could have stayed here in this country, but our laws did not permit it, and no one had the opportunity to stay. They had to go back and go through their laws of passports and things like that.
We were listening to my grandfather, Robert Brown, a Master Sergeant of the United States Army in charge of a company. Now we're talking to my grandmother, Mrs. Alma Brown, about the Depression.
How about you meet Dad?
How long was the Depression with you?
About 5 years.
Well, what was the food situation? Was it hard to get food?
It wasn't too hard to get. It wasn't hard to get food, but you didn't have too much money to buy food.
What did you think of your president, Franklin Roosevelt?
We thought he was a very good president. He did a lot for the people.
Like, what were some things that he did?
He started jobs for people in CC camps.
What were CC camps?
Oh, they took the young men around the country and sent them into the woods to cut lumber and to build buildings. Gave them work, build up their muscles.
Cindi, some of those CC camps were put mostly in the mountains, and they cleaned out their areas where they made like recreation, and some of them today are still around and being used or improved. And they did a lot of work that for communities that couldn't afford to have people do it. The communities couldn't afford it. Like they rip-rapped streams and creeks and things of that nature just to get to work.
They got together.
What did you do for entertainment?
We got together to play cards and visited. Families would visit each other, and you'd go to a park once in a while, to a movie. Movies were cheap then.
About how much?
I think you could go to a movie for about a quarter.
Cindi, did Grandma say anything to you about what we ate?
No.
We had meat once a week, and that was hamburger.
What did you have the rest of the week?
Macaronis and fried potatoes, things out of the garden.
Did you have a big garden then?
Yes.
When you went to the grocery store, was there a lot of things on the shelves?
Not like there is today. You didn't help yourself. There was no self-help. You just had somebody wait on you at the counter. And you only bought what you needed. You didn't buy and store a lot ahead like you do today. You know, a lot of canned things. You just bought what you needed. Sometimes you just bought what you needed for that day.
Cindy, you know how we kept warm one winter? My brothers and I would go to the railroad where the coal trains would go by. And these trainmen would kick some coal up, and we'd take coal back, and that's how we kept warm that winter.
How much was it to rent a house?
Oh, on the average, about $15 to $20 a month.
How much was it to ride the bus?
About 10 cents.
How much was gasoline for your car?
Well, I had an old car, Cindy, which we used to get about 6 gallons for $1. And we'd have to make that last till we got more money. So we didn't go too much out of town. We went around town, like to go to our parents, and for maybe to the downtown for groceries or things like that. But otherwise, no traveling.
How much was bread and milk?
Bread was 10 cents, about 10 cents a loaf, and milk was about 11 cents a quart.
Right, when your kids were sick, how much did it cost to go to the doctor?
About $1.50, I believe.
Do you think we're headed towards another depression?
Not like that one.
Not like that one, Grandma?
There seems to be more money today. We won't have a depression unless we run out of money.
Did you get any financial help?
None at all.
You felt this hurt you, or did you learn something out of this depression?
I learned a lot out of that depression. Since the big money came back, I never craved for it because I never had it because I went through the depression. Now I never knew any better than to live on small wages and things like that.
Okay, thanks.
It surely did. We really learned a lot. When we got a nickel, we learned to hold on to some of it.
And he's going to tell you about the prisoner camps in World War II.
Cindy, I was in World War II. I was 33 years old, and I had an allergy. And that is the reason I spent my 5 years in this country. In about 1942, I was put on a cadre to